Hi, and welcome to Toni Time. Well, we have a very special person on our show, a guest that I adore tremendously. Hopefully he will become a family member of our show and give us updates. So we're going to get to know my friend, my boss, Jason. Welcome.
Welcome, Toni. Thank you very much.
Welcome to Toni Time.
A pleasure to be here.
Now, I'm sure the audience is wondering when I said you're my boss.
Uh-huh.
We met during, UNE has a program called Standardize Patient.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason runs that department.
I run the program, yes. I coordinate the standardized patients in our clinical performance center at UNE, which is right down the street. It's an excellent, wonderfully fulfilling job where I'm able to recruit people from the community.
Yeah.
Some with flair and drama experience, and other people with medical backgrounds, or other people just simply that are fascinated with helping doctor students learn how to be better at their bedside manner skills. And
it's a wonderful program, and we get lots of compliments from the students. So give the audience a point by point how from the time where they can call, they can call you because they're interested, and then UNE does a training, very intense training, because everybody has to do the same thing.
correct.
That's why it's called Standardized Patient.
Yes, exactly.
So give the audience a rundown from when you meet the person to when they're ready to be a standardized patient.
Absolutely. So usually what we do is we'll do some sort of a marketing strategy. This year I was putting up posters, word of mouth from satisfied standardized patients, Facebook postings, collect a pool of applicants that are interested in finding out, first of all, what the program's about. Once they express interest, I set up an appointment with them, and then I will interview them, maybe do a quick mock demonstration of what to expect with me playing the doctor student. Once they're on board with that, once I've collected enough people, we then will have a group training session where I will, first of all, show them some encounters on videos from past standardized patients extraordinaires, and then give them an idea of what the encounters will be like. And then this is where it gets really fun. I give them the script, we go over the script, and then I'll play a variety of different doctor students, giving them the opportunity to see what a first-year nervous student might be like, what a starting to get comfortable with their bedside manner second-year beginning student might be like, and then finally, what a end of second year student who has really developed those skills will be like, and how they can give the appropriate feedback on each step.
And there is a big difference.
Absolutely. But there's also the wonderful aspect of that each of these doctor students that comes in here is so eager to help the community. And to see their progress throughout the different times is amazing.
It is.
And it's probably one of the few times where a nurse such as myself gets to tell a doctor how to how they can do their job better and not get yelled at.
Well, that's true. That's true.
In fact, the doctor students are amazing. They really love the feedback. They love the standardized patients encounters.
They do.
I could not ask for a more meaningful job and a more wonderful group of people to come in and share this experience with me.
Well, you know, I do know with the students, they are so appreciative of what you do
Well,
and your staff.
yes. And my standardized patients. You guys make my job so easy.
And it's not like you have to have a medical background.
To be a standardized patient? No.
No, you don't have to have a medical background. All you need to do, it's not everyday work.
Right, it's a great little side gig for people.
It's a side, you know, I mean, if you are retired, not retired, you need younger people.
And I've actually been very lucky because I've actually recruited this fall a bunch of younger artisty people, some with dramatic backgrounds, some who just simply have the availability, some that are actually have a juggler.
Oh, good.
Yes, exactly. So I have a variety of people. I would love to try to recruit a few more people in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that often I can make it work if we can edit the scripts appropriately to really add that variety of people to the group. Recently, I actually trained my first transsexual standardized patient who is going to be able to bring a whole new aspect to these doctor students, a growing medical need, actually, of addressing and working with people that are transitioning from one gender to another. And I'm really excited about the prospects that this could bring to our program and how these doctor students are going to actually have a heads up over other students on how to work on this.
I think it's wonderful because I really want to bring up the point too. When the students, like first-year students,
Sure.
they have basically, from what I gather, and correct me if I'm wrong, kind of practiced on each other.
Right.
To have a stranger in the room,
Yep.
and we get a case, and the case you give us, we could have a bad knee, we could have a cough, and that student has, what, 24 minutes?
Usually, first-year students, yes, once they start working with standardized patients, they'll do a couple of very, very simple, oh, your name is Toni, could I just get your medical background cases, and could you look at, I'm going to look at your ankle. Then after that, they get into a slightly more complicated case where they don't know exactly what's wrong with you. So they have to remember how to treat Toni as a person, how to communicate and build that relationship.
To get the information
Exactly.
they need.
And what I do is I train you and the other standardized patients all to have the same script.
Yes.
So you'll know the answers if the doctor asks the certain questions. You give them a little piece of the puzzle. A strong doctor student will get enough of the pieces of the puzzle to figure out what's going on, and while still developing a strong rapport with you. As opposed to a doctor ordering a patient, UNE is really big on a patient-doctor relationship.
They are very big on
And
it.
they're really big on your ideas, your concerns, your expectations. Really big on, as a patient, knowing what the doctor is hearing is what you're saying and being able to communicate better. And that is the foundation for a strong doctor-patient relationship as these doctors go out into the real world.
But you're showing and teaching the student how to communicate.
Well, part of it, yes, yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're teaching them how to communicate with somebody they don't know. And I want to make clear to the audience that when you said about when the student does ask you about your health, your symptoms are in the script.
Exactly.
It's not your personal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most cases are going to have that description of, you have a timeline, you have your symptoms, you have your, the quote-unquote Jane Smith that you're playing has her ideas, her thoughts, her behaviors, that person's medical background, that if the doctor were to ask correctly, they would get a very good idea of who this person is.
And you cannot offer information to the student because they have to know how to bring it out in you.
Exactly. It's all training in terms of, I like to think of standardized patients go into each room with a big jigsaw puzzle box of pieces.
Yeah.
The doc asks a question, you give them a piece.
Yeah.
They ask enough of that, they get a better idea of what the picture is. But you don't just dump the whole box of pieces out and let them sort them.
No, absolutely not.
Yep.
And I think for the students too, because usually we get to have feedback with the student.
And I think that is what the doc students appreciate the most, is really hearing from Toni now about how she felt the doctor treated Jane in the encounter, and how Toni can offer constructive feedback and tips to help to invite this doctor student to try something different in the next encounter, or to remember to continue doing what they were doing correctly in the next encounter. And that helps build up the doctor students, their confidence, their people skills, I think it also helps refuel their desire to help humanity.
I believe that.
And I am so grateful to have this opportunity to really make a difference this way.
It does make a difference. I mean, I enjoy doing it because you're making a difference.
Exactly, yes.
And you're doing something that's positive. And these are students, they are fresh, they're energetic, they're nervous when they come in to see us.
Sometimes we are too.
We are too. But you know, they come in and they know kind of what they're supposed to do. And it's the little things that I think what is wonderful about your program is that for the next generation of doctors coming out, they are learning to be more in tune with the patient. I mean, some of the students have never checked the heart or the lungs of a person they don't know yet.
Exactly. The teaching them of the appropriate way to drape somebody.
Yeah.
The appropriate way to say, Jane, I would like to go behind you and open up your gown and listen to your lungs as my stethoscope.
Exactly.
As opposed to running behind you, ripping out your gown and putting a cold stethoscope on your back.
There's, you know, these steps of compassion
Yes.
and letting the patient know what is going to happen.
And that's one of the goals I had when I started becoming the Standardized Patient Educator here this spring, is to work on a set of feedback tips to work with. A first-year student working on a strong opening, suggestions to build that foundation.
True.
By the end of first year, hopefully that's been developed. Now they're getting a little bit more comfortable with actually thinking about a diagnosis. And then by second year, being brave enough to talk to this simulated patient about what they think is going on and offering their ideas of what they want to do and verifying the patient's okay with that, and then going outside the room to talk to their attending that doesn't exist. But they leave the encounter feeling empowered and also knowing that the patient has an idea of what's going on.
Exactly. And that's where, you know, when they come into the room, I mean, we are trained as SPs to watch things but not offer information.
Correct.
And you know,
Unless they ask, obviously they ask the right questions.
unless they ask the right questions, and then you give that answer to that question. But you know, when the student comes into the room, you know, do they wash their hands? How do they introduce themselves? And at the end, when we get to give feedback,
Correct, yep.
we can say things like, God, your entrance was great, or
When you asked my full name and my preferred name and then used it in the encounter, Toni, I felt more at ease.
I felt we were a team.
And that's all. I'm very big on giving specific examples and feedback to help people cement what they really want to know and how that information can be used in the future to make them more confident and stronger and a better provider of health care and wellness care.
Exactly. And you're setting a tone now at UNE.
Oh, thank you.
You are. You're setting a tone because what this man does and what is involved in this program is amazing. It's not like he just gives us a script and goes, oh, well, I'll pick one.
Yeah. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
He doesn't do that. It's what students are coming in, what year are the students, you know, you talk and work with the professors as well.
Yep.
And the professors, well, in the room we're in, there are 2 cameras. So the professor is able, and you are able to watch the student, the standardized patient. So you can see the professor has an insight of the strong points of that student and to help them with a weak point.
And they're usually focusing on the biomedical stuff, such as did they do the appropriate abdominal or lung exam? Whereas Toni, if she was that standardized patient, would be focusing on how does this doctor make me feel when they're doing that abdominal or lung exam? You know,
Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel, you know, like he or she really cares?
And one of the things that I really want to cement with these doctor students, as I've known going through nursing school, is you have your biomedical checklist, and as you get more involved with healthcare, they get bigger and bigger and more. I just hope that, and I always try to emphasize, is you start with a foundation of a relationship and that those people skills, and always keep that as your foundation as you go further and further with your biomedical. And there's a way you can balance both of them out and be an excellent doctor. And that's what I hope we're doing when we do our program, that the doc students walk away with feeling that ability to really keep their humanity, and it actually will make their doctor experiences stronger.
Yeah. And it does. It definitely does. I mean, you have a great group of standardized patients.
I will totally agree with that.
And all of us care. All of us, you know, among ourselves, it's a personality among us. I mean, there are housewives, there are grandmothers, there are grandfathers, actresses,
jugglers.
I mean, we have an array of people that come into the program. And within the training you do, so there is no question, we all care.
Oh, absolutely.
We all care. I mean, we all care about those students who come in.
Exactly. And the thing that is one of the things that's absolutely wonderful about my job is that the teamwork I see with you. This is not just a job, this is a community that comes together, and we support each other. I'm very big. My job is made easy when I have people that care, people that are there. I know you guys are going to be reliable. You guys are going to give your best shot. And the more of you that I have and that I retain, and it makes my job easier as I keep going through this, and then we can work on making our performances even stronger and stronger so the students get even more out of it.
Absolutely. When you came into the program, Jason, I mean, this man took this program and he made it people-friendly.
Oh, thank you.
You did. You made it people-friendly.
Well,
you gave and give credit where it's deserved.
Thank you very much.
You acknowledge people for who they are and what they are. But like I said before, it is not an easy program, because by the time you go through your people and figure out the students and you pull your script and then you train, even the older standardized patients who have been doing it, we still need to get trained. We need to get the feel of everything. And his patience is unbelievable through this, because what you do is there's a list, a doodle list, if any of you are familiar with a doodle list, which is a program.
It's a scheduling program, yes, online.
Right.
Once you've gone through the program, the orientation with me, I then give you the doodle list and I send out updates, and then you program in what days that you're available.
Yeah.
And then based on who you are and what the case description is, for example, with Toni, I probably wouldn't use her in the 17-year-old that went down the wheelchair while drunk at a frat party.
No. No.
However, you would be perfect in a lot of other cases that I have. You know? So I try to factor in age, body type, what the ailment is, whether or not they have, like, for example, appendicitis. Do they still have their appendix? You know?
Yeah.
It's like, and then I schedule a training beforehand. Yeah, and then we work that way, and that's how I'm able to recruit and refine my standardized patient program.
And you have refined it.
I got to say, one thing I'm very proud of is we have not lost any standardized patients since I started the program.
No.
And I've actually had a couple people that were even thinking of quitting because their schedules were getting more full with other things. And I said, even 4 hours a month, you can fill in a gap for me. That's helpful to me.
Yeah.
And I've been able to retain some people then to fill in like that.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to kind of keep your skills fresh there and also make some money. And then there are other times, like, for example, one of those people suddenly had a ton of availability because of a job change, and I was able to help her out with multiple shifts during that short time frame. So it's a great job for people that have that flexibility. Usually the hours it's like from August to May are when we have most of our standardized patient hours. It's a school year. It follows the school year. There tends to be more busyness in mid-October, in December, and then in January, and then in February, and then in May. It just becomes, because it sort of follows the finals and midterms and other testing that students would have. But it's an amazing opportunity.
It is, and I mean, you have everything right there. Now let's talk about you for a moment here.
What about me? What about me?
What about you?
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk. I mean, you came into this program many years ago, but in the meantime, you studied to become an RN.
That's correct.
So tell us how that came about.
Okay. I was a recreation management major at UNH. I moved up here from Massachusetts in 1990 to go to UNH. I worked for the city of Portsmouth in recreation for many years. I thought I was going to retire with that job. Situation happened, budget cuts, things happened, that job was phased out. So I had to do a kind of, midlife, what do I want to do with my life? I want a job I think that would match my skills. I looked into nursing. So after I left the city, I started working here part-time as a standardized patient, put myself through nursing school, got my nursing license, got some experience in a hospital and in community work. And just always, but I always kept this gig even after I became a nurse because I loved the people and the fun. And then the opportunity came up this spring where the job opened up, and I took it, and I've been able to now use my theatrical background, my recreational background in terms of making it fun, my nursing background, and my basic people skills to really do this sort of art and a science combined to make a program something that is a win-win for all.
Oh, it absolutely is.
And that's been my motto. Recreation was a win-win for all.
Yeah.
This is a win-win for all. My community work, I used to do safe sex education. That was a win-win for all.
Yes. You did say sex education, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, go on. I mean, go on.
All right. Yes, from, let's see, God, 1994, when I graduated UNH, I was volunteering for an AIDS service organization down in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, AIDS Response Seacoast, and they needed somebody to help with their safe sex education and packet distributing in Ogunquit. Basically, I was the condom police. I would go around to the beach and I would offer information on testing and offer packages as needed to people. And over the years, the decades, I became known as the condom guy.
But you probably saved a lot of lives.
I would assume so, because I definitely got a lot of great feedback from that job too. And it was an amazing opportunity to really connect with the community. There's a lot of support for AIDS awareness and STD prevention in the Seacoast area, especially Ogunquit. A lot of day trippers from Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire come there for the day. So there was a great way to kind of see a variety of different communities all in one section. Plus, my office was Ogunquit Beach for 20 years.
I could live with that.
Yeah, I did too, yeah. And that was an amazing opportunity to really connect with the community there. It actually wound up working out really nicely is that the funding finally dried up last year. They actually hosted a pool party in Ogunquit to keep the condom guy afloat.
Yeah.
For one more year.
Literally.
And then this year, right as I was getting this job here, the funding finally phased out altogether. So it was kind of a leap of faith that I started up. I feel like I've kind of got a guardian angel that's always finding a new little avenue for me to try. Yeah.
But see, everything you have accomplished in your life up to this point, and the jobs you have done have been longevity, number one. You believed in what you were doing. You believed in each program as you went along. You helped a community.
Yeah.
And you give from your heart, Jason.
Well, thank you, Toni.
And I mean, you do see that at the program at UNE. I mean, you do give from your heart. You cross your T's, you dot your I's, you're in early, you get your schedule. I'm sure you work late. And his crew around him are just right there, and they're enjoying, and I can see it in their face.
Yeah.
They're enjoying it.
Well, like I say, I'm probably the only nurse in the world that has a job that works Monday through Friday, snow days off, working with wonderful people, trying to teach them to get sicker as opposed to healthier.
Well, you know what the wonderful thing about his scripts are, and now the scripts are written by the professors.
Yes, we have basically we have an online inventory of scripts. The professors and my boss, the director, Robin Watts, make decisions as to what scripts are being used. And then They give them to me. I read them over figure out which standardized patients based on the doodle are available, and then I pull you guys in, and then we do a training on those.
Right, exactly. Because these scripts, I mean, it's just not like somebody sits down and says, oh, well, I'm going to do this, and you're going to be this person, and we're going to give you high blood pressure, and we're going to give you sore knee.
Right, they're written by medical professionals who know
So
the
this is
appropriate
not-
symptoms. Yeah, that's what makes
This is not just a script.
Right.
There's a lot of time and thought that goes into all this.
Yep.
So this wonderful, I mean, I want you to be aware of this wonderful program that UNE offers. I want you to feel free to make a phone call to Jason. At the end of the show, you will see his phone number. If you're interested in being a standardized patient, go in and talk to Jason.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, go in and talk to him. It doesn't hurt. You can make a little extra money and meet a wonderful crowd of people.
Exactly, yes.
Now, from this point, where do you see the program going that you would like to do to improve? I mean, you are now doing models.
Oh, the Human Model Program. Yes, and that's another opportunity we have. That is a separate group of individuals. These men and women are willing to do those more intimate exams that the standardized patients do not do. Standardized patients would never fully disrobe, for example. They always wear bras and gym shorts underneath their johnnies. With the Human Model Program, what I'm doing now is recruiting people who are willing to have breast, pelvic, prostate, and rectal exams. Those are done with the docs, students with the docs in the rooms. And that is another intimate but very important
Very important.
very important exposure for the docs to learn to know what to do when they go into those encounters in the future in real life. So what I'm doing now is my big project for this rest of this week is to get all my human models ready for the physician assistance program in January, and then I'm going to be doing a bunch more of that March to April. And it's another great opportunity for those people that are very comfortable with themselves and their bodies.
Oh, yeah.
But it is a vital program and service to the community.
It's very vital because a lot of doctors to be, whatever, have never really examined.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
this
to
is good
sometimes
practice.
they could be in a situation where it's assumed that they've already had that exposure. And with our program, they're giving it in a very, very refined, very professional setting to actually have that ability to give this exposure to them and then be able to comfortably talk to somebody who they have to disrobe, who they have to have a rather intimate contact with.
Yes.
I was actually very lucky is that my old nursing class has a Facebook page for professional nurses that I was allowed to post information on that with, and I actually got some very positive feedback from different nursing individuals who are out in the field who have a lot of experience in healthcare who are interested in doing that.
Oh, sure.
So it actually is a professional group of people who are really going to be able to add an extra dynamic to it. So that's one of the things I'm working on in the future. The other thing, which you know about, is I'm working on a therapeutic communication video for the students. What this is I am going to pretend to be a medical doctor.
A doctor, you are a medical professional.
And I'm going to demonstrate a therapeutic encounter from knocking on the door to leaving and how to present yourself confidently to a patient, how to put them at ease, how to address some of those issues that might come up. I've actually created 3 different vignettes that I wrote. One of them is with my transsexual SP about how a new doctor would address a new patient who is transitioning. Another vignette I'm working on is actually with you, Toni, where how to address suspected abuse with an older client. And a third one is how a male doctor could address a female doctor and ask some of those questions about intimate activities, sexual history, drug abuse, all those often very hard to navigate in situations where you just met somebody, and what kind of language you can give and say that is professional, direct, but safe. And it gives the patient the empowerment to understand and make the choices in their healthcare.
It's amazing.
Well, thank you.
It is amazing. And I don't think our audience even knows that this program is there and it exists, and the way it exists and why it's there. I mean, you've heard now why UNE has this program, because it's to help the upcoming doctors and nurses or that, but it's also us being able to give back to our community as well.
And that's what I'm so grateful with, is that, you know, it seems like everyone there really has that feeling in their hearts about it. I mean, I'm so impressed when I can call you guys up last minute to come in for a couple hours to help a student out and to have such positive response. I love it that we're able to like find a way to kind of fit everybody's needs together.
And you do.
Thank you.
And you do. I mean, you put the puzzle together.
I love doing that.
I know you do. We're getting kind of short on time, but what I want to bring up as well, you have this wonderful program where we go in, which I just went in last Monday, and we watched 3 videotapes of one of our peers.
The Quality Assurance Program.
The Quality Insurance Program, which, you know, when we come in at 8 o'clock and we start at 9, you know, you're fresh, you're ready to go. And then how are you at 1 o'clock? And how are you at 4 o'clock? Because you're doing the same script, the same thing. Are you as fresh as at the beginning? Jason has us come in.
Yeah.
And we watch 3 of our peers, and then we watch ourselves and see what we could do better, what we could change. And I think that's a wonderful education. It's a wonderful 3 hours spent on fine-tuning the program.
And that's the key. That's my next step. Now that I have the scripts, I've trained you on the scripts, and I add notes to the scripts. After I look at your quality assurance, and I see, okay, where still are the areas we're struggling in here? Is that a medication issue? Is that cough dry or non-productive, Toni? All right, and then I can add into the Bible version of the scripts this extra layer of emphasize what a productive cough should be or not be, or emphasize what kind of knee pain it is. Those things that if people who have already done the script, because often we'll do cases that might come up again or something similar in the future, I would like to use SPs that are comfortable with that kind of case. I might need to emphasize with you again, let's all agree this is how we're doing the opening, this is how we're doing the symptoms, this is how much of the medicine we're taking. So it helps me see areas that I can fine tune.
Exactly.
Help you guys do an even better job.
I know.
Yes.
It's wonderful. I am so glad you're with the program and you care so much, and it's so appreciative.
Well,
so very appreciative, Jason.
I cannot think of a nicer group of people to work with, a more wonderful work setting, and a better match for my talents.
Absolutely. I mean, because you walk in there and it's showtime.
Yes.
You know, and we go and do our thing, and when we get our breaks, the SPs are back in the kitchen. And usually, you know, 1 or 2 of the SPs will make cookies or they'll make something. And it's like we have 15 minutes, so everybody's kind of catching up on everybody. And then we go back to our rooms. And also, so you can visualize this, UNE has 8 rooms, 10 rooms, set up like a doctor's office that you would go into for your physical or checkup. So the whole environment is if you're walking into your own doctor's office. And when the student comes in, they're walking into their office.
Right. They're reading on the door script. They don't even know what setting it. It could be an emergency room. It could be a doctor's office. It could be anything. So they're figuring out what the setting is, what's going on, and they knock on that door, and they don't know who's going to be on the other side of the door.
No, and it's all personality. And to also go and bring up the feedback. You know, and I, you know, I've learned so much from the program. My doctor hates me. No, no, she doesn't hate me. But she did put on my chart that I'm a standardized patient because we learn so much. And you know, the right things to do, what to do. And oh, where was my mind going on this? But I mean, I've learned so much, but going in there and being able to give feedback, all right? And that's your own personal feedback. I mean, it's like you give a compliment.
Yes, I'm very big on finding the positive and then offering suggestions for improvement.
It's like a sandwich.
Right. And then leave with the empowerment of, I invite you to consider these in the future as in addition to your other strong points to help you build up.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, I mean, you do give the positive, and then, I mean, I know when I do it, the middle part, I will say, well, you know, this made me feel good. This made me felt like you were a team player.
Right. When you made good eye contact with me and used my name, I felt like you were really involved with what was going on. In the future, you might not want to turn your back to me while you're talking about something else or writing notes.
Yeah.
You know.
So all these things play a part, but it is a wonderful program, absolutely wonderful. And Jason, you make it wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
You do.
Well,
we're running out of time, but...
Well, it has been a wonderful and hilariously enjoyable morning.
It has been. Now, is there anything you'd like to tell the audience?
Well, I would just like to invite people to, if they want to find out more about the program, is to just contact me. My information is going to be at the end of the show on the credits. Email, call me. I'm happy to go over more information. The program is actually starting to expand into Portland. We're doing more work up in Portland. There's always going to be, I'd like to see us expand more of our services, maybe opening up clinics to the doctor students later on. So there could always be the potential for a different avenue for this program to go. And the more people involved, the more likely it is we can find the right demographics to meet every case, which would be my goal.
All right. Well, write down the phone number. I want to thank you for being on Toni Time.
It's been a pleasure, Toni.
And will you come back and give us updates?
You better. You betcha.
Okay. So Jason will be back with updates as we go through the new year starting up. And I just thank you for being here. And I want all of you to know out there in the audience that pick up the phone, call. You know, find out about the program. It's not going to cost you anything. But if you have a compassion, you have an interest, no matter what stage of life you're in, make a phone call to Jason. So I want to thank all of you for watching today, or night, or whenever you're watching this show. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.